Hi everyone, Linda back with a virtual trunk show. This time I'm actually wrapping up the current trunk show and going to show you the Christmas holiday themed models that are happening. I have lots and lots of other models, but this is what I've been showing you is what's in the current trunk show. So let's get started because there's quite a lot here. First of all, I'm going to talk about a series of berries called caroling berries. And what I did here is I created a linen berry, and there's 8 of these. So I have, this is the Christmas tree, this is the O Tannenbaum, or O Christmas tree berry. Here is Star of Wonder from Wise Men, We Three Kings. I've got Silent Night. I'm going to go through these kind of quickly and then show one example in more detail and I'll also have the link to the page on the website. Adeste Fidelis, or O Come All Ye Faithful. We have Deck the Halls. And we have Joy to the World and Jingle Bells, or Dashing Through the Snow. Okay, what I did on each of these is I did the berry, and I'm kind of digging through here to find the one I'm looking for. We'll go back to O Tannenbaum. These are done monochromatically, and obviously I did all of these on the same fabric. These are 36 count linen with just a pretty red fabric. I have seen some of you post online where you've done them in different fabrics, a different look. Because they're monochromatic, you can really do what you want here. Each one is topped with some pretty wool. There's 2 layers, and there's some good pictures on the website about this. But there's 2 layers here, and then a bit of ribbon that's just looped and anchored with a pearl head straight pin. So the finishing of these, the top treatment is really, really, I didn't think that they needed anything just real elaborate on the tops because it is a series, and when you have them all together, like on a pretty round platter, you don't need anything that kind of overwhelms the top treatment. So that's the berry. Now in each case in the chart pack, if you're not into the berries and don't want to do that finishing, each one has a little version that's squared up. So it's basically taking the same design elements and putting them into a little rectangle. So if you want to do a little set of bowl fillers or do some flat finish ornaments, you can do that with the squared up version. So both are in the same chart pack together, okay? Now the other thing that I want to show you about these, this is kind of another illustration just to get you thinking. Look here, these are the same berry design, but they've got a completely different look because of the fabric choice. So again, go with what you want. This is done on a pretty, I believe it's garnet or merlot gingham from Weeks Dye Works. And then I just used a pretty cream floss and did that. And in this case, I did a more elaborate finish. I made some big wool leaves. And then there's some of that same ribbon and a vintage button on the top. So have fun. Decide which carols or all of them that you want, and think about whether you want to make them all a matching set, or if you want to just kind of use up what you have around and play with some fabric thread combinations and do what you like. So those are the caroling berries. I'm going to set those out on my way here. Okay, just like the other 3 seasons, we're now here down to winter, and we have defining winter. So we have white, holiday, flannel. Let's see, what did I do? Mittens, evergreen, and frosty. So this is more of a winter design versus Christmas, which you can leave out the whole time. I really enjoyed doing this series. These larger wordplay ones that are done on the silk gauze, choose a fabric that you like if you'd rather do it that way. What I would suggest when you choose your fabric is remember this background detail is supposed to be subtle and tonal. So you'll want to choose a fabric and thread that recreates that soft contrast for that background detail. This way the primary part of the design stands out and it doesn't fight. The little cushion, winter. Again with more pretty pins and chenille trim and just lining up those blocks together. So this is defining winter. All four chart packs have both the bigger wordplay design and the little cushion chart all in the same chart pack. Okay. Next, kind of back to Christmas again. I actually charted and stitched a model for something similar to this several years ago and never published it because it just didn't click with me. So I came out and redid. This is called Prince of Peace. If you're familiar with the Messiah, Hallelujah Chorus, all those sorts of things, these are all words pulled from that. And it's just a really, I think, elegant, pretty design that pulls out all of those phrases. And it's accented with some crowns, some pretty borders. There's some subtle background detail in there because I like to do that. But this is just really an elegant thing, and it would be just as pretty on a pretty piece of creamy white linen. In fact, in the chart pack, I've done that. So I'm going to show you those next. I took out the phrase, just wonderful counselor, as an example, and this chart's included. And this is done on linen. You see? So it's very easy to make the switch if you'd like to do that to fabric. But if you want to do just little bits of it, this is a pretty one. And I got a couple more to show you. I made, if you want to go just really small, little small ornament type pieces. For unto us a child is born with the crown. And then this one, Prince of Peace. And these are just little, finished into little tiny pillows, for lack of a better word. I had some beaded trim from something from years ago that I couched to the edges, and there's just some ribbon. So again, this is Prince of Peace. 2 ornaments, the silk gauze, and the wonderful Counselor Peace. All 4 charts are in that chart pack. Okay. Next, let's go to a few berries. I'm going to start with Mistletoe Kisses. And yes, this isn't a berry, but you'll see in a minute. I just think this phrase is darling. Candy cane wishes and mistletoe kisses. It's just a sweet, sweet sentiment for the Christmas season. And so it's just a cup of, there's a red color floss, a green color, and a creamy white. Pick your favorite fabric that gives you nice contrast for those colors. This is on 40 count and gets it to be about this size. It's trimmed up with some rickrack and a bit of twisted cord in the red and white. And then this is one of those wool buttons I make sometimes. Pretty. And as I was working on this little design, so pretty little candies across the bottom, I thought, gee, wouldn't these be cute berries? So we have Candy Cane Wishes and Mistletoe Kisses. So basically the same design is on the little cushion, just put into berry form. I think these are adorable. Each one has a wool cap, and this little snowflake, it's a laser cut wood snowflake that I got at a craft store, a whole set of them a few years ago. I have no idea if they're still available or not, but there's so many fun little Christmas themed ornament type of things that I'm sure you'd be able to find something. Some gingham ribbon, And then there's a little pin. So they're both finished with that little snowflake and some gingham ribbon, and then one little pin to accent the top. So that's Mistletoe Kisses. Next, we'll do St. Nick's Berry. So I have linen and silk. So I'll start with the silk berry. It's got more detail, remember, on it because of the bigger stitch count. Here is Old St. Nick. I think of this as maybe his work clothes rather than his fancy suit for delivering packages on Christmas. So it's a buffalo check plaid. And he's got stars, he's got a cardinal friend, there's a Christmas tree, there's ribbons and jingle bells. Just lots and lots going on. He's got ornaments there. And on the, where you turn it around to where you can see the back, it says, "Be jolly and believe." And you see kind of the little dotted lines in the background there? What I did when I stitched the background on this is I stitched it in squares, and they're marked on the chart, and then I did a running stitch in a darker thread just to kind of create almost a plaid or more prominent but still kind of subtle background checkerboard pattern. The top is a plain wool cap with a holly leaf cut out. There are some pearlized red pins for holly berries, and then this is another berry made out of wool. It's a strip of wool that's kind of rolled up like a jelly roll, and they make really cute little pins. So that's the St. Nick berry. I just love his plaid flannel shirt. And here again is the linen berry, and he, again, because he's on the linen, it's a much smaller stitch count, so I can't do all the detail, but we still have the same Jolly Santa. He's got his buffalo plaid shirt on. He's holding a little feather tree, and there's a banner around the bottom that says "Believe." There's his cardinal friend. Okay. So that's St. Nick's berry in the linen, and look at the top here. Just a nice big cut of green wool. There are, if you've been watching these, you've seen me show you these spacer beads that you can get in the jewelry department. They're kind of a nice antique brass, so they don't shine too much. And then, of course, I had to embellish with buffalo plaid ribbon. He's just so cute. They're both really cute. St. Nick's berry. Okay. Okay, next, I'm gonna show you Chuck Full Christmas. This is kind of a little sampler that I did last year, and inspiration for it, I have had a great aunt who, as many did during the years of the Depression in the late 20s and mostly the 1930s, I guess, saved everything, including, I think, every Christmas card she ever received. Well, a number of years ago, we went through those boxes of Christmas cards, and I pulled quite a stash out that just appealed to me for one reason or another, and this was one of them. It says, "Happy Christmas," and the inside, I love the little pop-up, fold-out paper. I'll read this to you. "Though your stockings are of silk, of cotton or wool, I hope this Christmas finds them chuck full. Yes, full, heaped over with gifts bright and new, and my very best wishes I tuck in for you." So this card is what inspired, the verse on the card is what inspired this design. So what I did, it's more of a sampler format, and this one is stitched in maybe not such a traditional Christmas palette. It's still the red and the green, but they're very warm and maybe a bit softer. So I think this appeals to a lot of people, but I just think this is just pretty regardless. And I'll show you in a minute how you could do it with more traditional reds and greens. So we've got the verse about the stockings, whether they're silk or cotton or wool. And it's just got lots of pretty holiday motifs. And down there at the bottom, where we finds it chock full. So there's not actually that many colors used here. Just a couple shades of green, pretty warm red. It's really very pretty and not a massive sampler, so something that you can pull out and put up with your holiday decor. But as I said, if you want to go something that is a more traditional red-green color palette, I've got something to show you. I stitched this on silk gauze, and you can tell it's the deeper reds and greens, but the other thing that's obvious here is it's a stocking shape. And this is just, it's a chock full stocking, so I had to incorporate a stocking somehow. This is stitched on silk gauze, and the sampler design is exactly the same from here on up, but the bottom portion of the sampler, I just rejigged it a little bit so that it fit into that stocking shape. Now, if you wanted to do the stocking on linen, certainly you could do that. It would just be more of an oversized stocking, maybe obviously one that you could use versus an ornament size. Isn't that sweet? So this is chock full Christmas. So you get the sampler and the stocking pattern, which is just a altered version of the sampler, all in the chock full Christmas chart pack. Okay, and finally, another berry. This one, and I think a lot of you have seen this one already. It's turning into one of my favorites. This is Christmas berry. Okay. So here we have the moose. This is the silk gauze berry. He's got his cardinal friends. One's perched on one of his big antlers. He's got a wreath around his neck. Little forest of trees in the nighttime sky. It's all snowy. There's a little rabbit at his feet there. Another little rabbit there. And then if we turn it all the way around, there's another rabbit. And up here I put in a fox and a squirrel. And it's a nighttime sky on the snowy ground. And then this is a simple scallop-shaped wool cap out of a creamy white, pretty ribbon. And then there's a heart pearl pin. I've been able to find these like at Joann's and online, some of these pretty pearlized heart pins. And then this pin I made with a mother of pearl star, because it just seemed to fit with this pretty little berry. So that's the silkberry version of Christmas. Then when I come to the linen berry, I use that that pre-printed linen that's got the white dots on it, because it certainly does remind me of a snowy sky. So there's the moose. He's not quite all there because there's not quite room for him, but he still has his wreath and his cardinal friends. Down there at the towards the tip are a couple of his rabbits. He still has his own Christmas tree. It goes all the way around like that. So that's Christmas berry. And the top here is a nice cut of wool, brown wool for the cap. This is it's a little hard to see under all this stuff going on, but this is a big vintage coat button, a dark brown coat button, gingham ribbon, and these pretty, very appropriate pins with the cardinal and the snowflakes. Okay, so that is Christmas berry. Okay, that actually wraps up everything that's in the trunk show that's currently traveling. I'm going to be packing it up here in the next week or so and getting it shipped out by the end of June. I'll be back with more. I've got a few things planned for late July. And I'm also thinking about continuing this and showing you more models that just aren't traveling anymore. I have a whole file drawer full of models that aren't on the current trunk show. They're still great and they're still fun to look at, so I may dig into that for a bit. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. Be well. Bye now.